and the camera shot of all the runners coming to the finish line. You got to pluck all those folks out, re-score the results, and in doing so, looks like we had Flower Mound and Bridgeland still in it, but in a different order of finish. All right, let's talk about the boys' teams here, and it's a deep one as it relates to national ranking. Dystat has 3 of these squads in the top 30.
We're talking about, the history of this particular region and a team that has certainly dominated and has had their presence and actually the most amount of trips ever to Nike Cross Nationals, if they are to get there again, is Carroll XC Club. They're not the favorite this year, Paul. It's actually the Blue Jay Distance Project out of the state of Louisiana. Louisiana's never had a team qualify to Nike Cross Nationals, and a team that had this team in particular had 5 individuals finish in the top 10 at the Louisiana Division I state meet, of course, led by Brady Monahan, who last year finished, I believe, 11th in this region. So, great opportunity to see what that team has. But really, for me, Paul, it's a battle of the Lone Star State between these 3 Texas athletes.
Yeah, Newberry has the course record here at 15 minutes, 0.1 seconds, set earlier in the year. But Caden Leonard, of course, comes back here undefeated this year in 3 races, the defending champion from the course in the Woodlands, and he'll see if he can do it here in College Station.
It's been an interesting season for him. He's sat out a lot, as you mentioned, only 3 races under the belt. Actually had to sit out because of a stress reaction, so, I kind of had to pick and choose where he was going to race throughout the season. It's been the latter half of the year, so he was able to win his 3rd consecutive Texas 6A state title. Not only an opportunity to, test his fitness once again and reclaim that regional title, but really kind of prove to the country, I'm still Caden Leonard, and I'm still the guy that's going to be competing for a national championship. A lot of people like him being on top of the podium stand, Paul, in Portland here in just a couple of weeks. And, and anybody that wants redemption from last year's NXN, we remember that fall on that corner there with about, kilometer left in that race. He was on the cusp of winning a national title, and he is, without a doubt, wanting to get back and have some redemption.
And that opportunity will be afforded to him here in short order as we go across the boxes at the start line with our Gator once again. Things now, 31 minutes into the sunrise part of the day here in Texas. An early start for these championship races due to the impending weather that is expected, but some fireworks expected here on the course in short order as the best from Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi toe the line in Nike Cross Regional South. As Keenan mentioned, Texas and Arkansas have dominated the teams going to the last 19 editions of Nike Cross Nationals. Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Mississippi have never had a team qualify. Could this be the year? We'll find out in short order. We're underway with the boys' championship race at Nike Cross Regional South.
Early morning, but these boys are attacking this course from the gun, Paul, and just, again, establishing themselves here. And it's unfamiliar territory for a lot of them. As you mentioned, Caden Leonard, reigning or defending champion, did not run on this course last year because it was at the Woodlands. Not very many of them have ran on this course. There's only been a couple of opportunities this year for some of them to race on the Watts Cross Country course, whether it was Nike South or the Texas A&M Invitational. So they'll learn, just like Macy Wingar said throughout the race. She'll learn just as much as the race goes by.
The talented group of runners coming together now, and will get themselves out and on to the main part of this purpose-built cross-country course at Texas A&M, playing host for the very first time to Nike Cross Regionals. And as we get back to the Gator, we start to keep an eye on some of the familiar faces that we expect to figure prominently in this race, as everyone's kind of looking for positioning here. Newberry on the far left of your screen. Again, the course record holder settling in to his early pace.
You can also see a guy that we're familiar with that actually won the Chili Pepper Invitational, Jackson Free. I believe he's wearing 2161. He's actually right next to Caden Leonard, the tall figure in the back, just right behind what is also Griffin Sake, who finished 3rd at the Texas 6A State Championships, part of our key individuals to watch for out this race. A lot of big names from the state of Texas, but also, there's presence from the state of Louisiana, presence from the state of Arkansas with Jackson Free right there. Expect Brady Monahan from Blue Jays to be up in this mix too. A lot of key pieces throughout this race, as we'll learn here as we're over 2 minutes now gone by.
Dominic Mathias out of Moore, Oklahoma, their 6A champion. It was 17th here last year. He's in the dark singlet on the right side of your screen, now coming alongside the early leaders. And, you're 6-7 across right now. No one trying to push the pace like we saw with the girls' race, which is not too unusual to see two very different races in two championship categories.
Again, with a downhill stretch, too, you kind of are dragged along by everybody else that is at the front of the pack. It's kind of like Laverne Gibson a little bit, where you have that downhill slope to begin the race to kind of really set the tone early on, and then it starts to become those uphill climbs that you would get like at the Laverne Gibson. So they'll figure that out once we get towards the end at the bottom of this hill. And it's the youngsters that are setting the tone early on. You got Newberry, sophomore. You got Mathias, a sophomore. The veterans, they're kind of like Wingard, just letting the youngsters do all the work.
One of the veterans in that field, bib 25-23, that's Brody Maassen of Jenks in that Jenks singlet in the middle. He's kind of been controlling it at the front. Griffin Saki now emerges in the orange singlet on the far right side of your screen. So a lot of names we're throwing at you here, because there's a lot of names here in the front as they get to that first kind of major twist and turn portion of the race. But we've still got pretty much everybody intact in the lead pack here as they work their way through, closing in on what will be a 1 mile split coming up shortly, where we'll be able to reset the field and update that team competition.
So again, the team competition kind of coming down to Blue Jays out of Louisiana, Carroll XC Club. Didn't get the chance to mention about Venom XC. They were third in this region last year, going for their second consecutive trip to Nike Cross Nationals. Bridgeland is kind of on the inside or on the outside looking in, led by Griffin Saki, who they were second last year in this region, and trying to see if they can qualify for a second consecutive trip. A team from Arkansas that's going to try to see if they can get in the mix here. Bentonville, led by brothers Brian and Sean Burns, the younger brothers of Connor Burns, after transferring in from the state of Missouri. Now they're in Arkansas.
Closing in on that 1 mile split momentarily as they will cross the mat right there. And Brody Maassen is the early leader here. Mathias, Newberry, Graham Hummel up at the fourth position with Aiden Fitzgerald, Griffin Saki in sixth.
They are moving, Paul. 4:33.9 at this first mile. They'll learn here when we get to the second mile on this course. But this is championship-style racing. It's whatever it takes mentality at this point. If it means, going out in 4:33, that's what it takes to get you to Nike Cross Nationals, so be it.
Note that Caden Leonard, our defending champion, who was third at NXN last year, is back in 10th position through the first mile. So he's letting the race unfold a little bit in front of him, and that is a sign of someone who's a seasoned race veteran.
Yeah, and again, trying to see where his fitness is at, because it may not be, as great as Rule Newberry's or Dominic Mathias is, because he hasn't raced as much this year. But as you mentioned, Paul, that veteranness that he has, having raced so much, he's just, kind of letting the race come to him. You also see his teammate Kai Gutierrez there right next to him. He really likes Kai Gutierrez. He thinks he's kind of the next coming of great athletes in Carroll XC, which, by the way, Carroll XC completely dominating the team race at this point with 61 points ahead of Bridgeland.
Yeah, those 5 runners across the line with low sticks for these teams. Now those scores added together may get an adjustment on those numbers here as the 1 mile split results are updated. But right now, Carroll with 61 points, Bridgeland with 118, and Bentonville out of Arkansas with 158 points. Mathias now maybe with a slight stride of a lead with Newberry next to him. Things beginning, was there for a while like 6 or 7 across. Now we're more like 2 or 3 across, and that is the effect of this hot pace.
It is, and now that they get a little bit of a downhill slope after that first big incline on our elevation tracker, but whatever it takes, and whoever's the fittest, if you're confident enough that you can go out in 4:33, so be it. But gosh, if you're hanging around there, like, Brody Masson has certainly fallen off pace, and he was our leader at first mile, and he's not even in picture right now. But the guys that we thought were going to be in this race out front are the ones in front right now, in Matthias, Newberry, and then Leonard back there in third.
And Matthias kind of running his own race right now as he moves to the far right side of your screen. And Newberry with the rest of the field in tow on the inside. As Newberry takes a look at his watch, sees about 7.5 minutes elapsed on this clock midway through this championship race. Again, he covered this 5,000-meter course in 15 minutes, 0.1 seconds earlier this season. That's the fastest we've seen a high schooler on this course so far today. But right now he is in second. Matthias continues to lead. Leonard is in third.
Newberry's got a big resume, though, Paul, even as a sophomore. You look at what he did last year at Nike Outdoor Nationals as a freshman on the 5,000, 14:26. I mean, that is no joke by any means. And, taking it to a guy like Caden Leonard, who was third at NXN last year, off to North Carolina next year, and an opportunity for him to, see if he can get back into the national title conversation. But the sophomores, I love this, Paul. I just love that they take this aggressiveness and do not care that they're in front of one of the best guys in the entire country.
We saw Matthias take a big look around at that last turn of the course. He, again, tries to find his own little space to run. Doesn't really want to lead this group as much as just be kind of up at the front. Almost wondering if he's sort of feeling like, I don't necessarily want to be the leader throughout this race and just put myself in a position here. It is now a game of attrition for those who want to be in the top 5, as we, for the first time, have that drone up in the air, and a great shot here as they come through a little portion of the wooded area in the course at College Station, Texas, and we're down to maybe 12 guys in that lead group.
Yeah, they've really strung out here in that second mile, and we'll get approaching that second mile to see where they at. I mean, none of these guys have missed a beat here, but again, you take it out that hard, you will feel the effects of it, especially when you're making those uphill climbs. And, they are approaching that 2 mile right now, and they'll go right over that time at 9:21, 4:47, so 14 seconds slower. But within that group right there, Paul, there are, I'm counting right now, 12 guys within 2 seconds of each other.
Newberry, Matthias, Leonard in third, Kai McCullough of Venom in fourth, Brian Burns in fifth, and Kai Gutierrez of Carroll just on the outside of that top 5 with a guaranteed spot to Nike Cross Nationals. He's in sixth, but he's right alongside Noah Stroman in seventh. Griffin Saki is in eighth, also at 9:22. Ethan Locke, Ethan Garza, Camden Gibson all want to be part of it. And you look at the turn and the legs moving here in what is still a mile left in this race. They are flying around the course here in College Station.
So Stroman, Saki, Locke, and Garza, they cannot lose contact with each other. What helps is with Leonard and Gutierrez being a part of Carroll XC, and now looking at the team side, Bridgeland. So for Saki's sake, this is good for him, but if I'm Stroman, Locke, and Garza, you have to dial in here on this last mile to get in one of those top 5 individual spots.
Great shot from high above. The leaders at the bottom of your screen, the chase pack on the upper side of this turn back as they'll work their way around to that finish line. The other thing we'll note, a little bit of a rise in the late stages of this race, and as well a long stretch to the finish line. Once they crest that hill, that finish line is in sight, but there is a long way still to run. And right now, Newberry, who has the course record, trying to put himself in a position to make Nike Cross Nationals, but look who's on his back shoulder. That's the defending champion, Caden Leonard.
That just comes with experience, Paul. Just gauging what the race is going to kind of play out. You let the youngster take care of the race towards the beginning of it. Caden Leonard, in his 4th race of this season, he has been eager to get back out there. When you're talking with your coach about wanting to race again, those conversations not only happen at his school, it happens at home because his dad is the coach of Carroll XC. So those conversations were day and night talking about, Dad, I want to be able to get back out here and show the people I am the guy to beat.
10 guys in this lead group, but we're starting to see some folks fall off the back. And look at Matthias, who was leading this race for a while. He is starting to head bob mightily here, just trying to stay as close as he can to this lead group. But it is starting to hurt, and that is because this pace has been absolutely blazing a trail around this Texas A&M purpose-built cross-country course. And now it looks like we might be down to a race of 2 for the title with Newberry and Leonard.
They've looked the most relaxed in this part of the mile, Paul. Everybody else, as you said, kind of just falling off, and their form is kind of flailing all over the place. Leonard and Newberry look the most relaxed out of anybody in this race. And at this point, Caden Leonard just keeps sitting on the heels of Newberry. Let him do the work until you get into that long straightaway, which is coming up here in just a couple of seconds as they're starting to fly now. And look at the long stretch that they have to go now here on this straightaway. A little bit of an uphill climb, but then it plateaus.
It was Leonard besting Newberry at the Texas 6A Championship for his third 6A title, and he comes off the top of the hill with the lead again. He sees the finish line. You can sort of start to see him push the gears a little bit, but Leonard still got a little bit of time as he tries to stay in contact, though he starts to look around, and Leonard starts to build the gap.
And there's just the experience of being in this position, of being not only a state champion, but a guy that competes for a national title. Paul, this is a guy that has been eager all season long to get back into racing because he has unfinished business and an opportunity to defend his title. Guess what? He has bigger fish to fry here in Portland here in a couple weeks.
Here now from the finish line, spectators trying to get in position. You can get a gauge of how long this stretch is for the leaders. Caden Leonard still in the lead. There's a great battle for those top 5 spots behind him. You see Matthias is still there. Brian Burns, 1286, back there in 3rd position right now as everyone's gutting it out, trying to get themselves a spot to Nike Cross Nationals. But from high above now, this race is over as it looks like Caden Leonard's not only going to get himself another Nike Cross Regional South title, but he's going to be, for the 2nd consecutive championship race, a new course record holder, as he will be under 15 minutes. Caden Leonard, 4 for 4 this year, undefeated as the Nike Cross Regional Champion.
And a championship record too, Paul. The previous best was 14:52.9 at the Bear Branch Park at the Woodlands. Completely obliterates that on this new course and lays the foundation for this region. And what a way to cap off your career here in this region.
And how about the props to Matthias there, 27:53. He comes across the line. He holds on and finishes in 5th. He looked like he was done with about a mile to go, having been part of that group to really push the pace and maybe trying to break Leonard early, but Leonard's patience paid off. 14:37.5. Newberry also under his previous course record, 14:42.4. Ethan Lockey and Brian Burns, Dominic Matthias, those are your top 5. Kai Gutierrez of Carroll is in 6th. So Carroll with 1st and 6th, and that could open the door for Kai McCullough, who is in 7th, and maybe even a Noah Stroman, who finished in 8th.
That's the waiting game now. You kind of just have to wait and see how Carroll XC Club has their 5 across. Venom XC is waiting for their 4th across the line, and guys just, falling down now because that's how hard they went out here to begin this race. It gets to you towards the end of this race. It shows it right there. Now we're seeing some team results pile in right here. And for Kai McCullough's sake, he's hoping and praying that Venom XC is moving on, which then opens the door for Noah Stroman to get in.
Yeah, a lot of low sticks for our top teams in that top 7. And still being adjusted are those team scores, Carroll and Venom, looking like they will be the two that will get invitations. But we saw in the girls' race, a lot can happen as these results get recasted with the individuals getting pulled out of the results. Right now, Carroll with 68 points, Venom with 82 points. The Blue Jays now ahead of Bridgeland in third.
And if things stay the way they are on the team side, I like the diversity of the individual team, Paul, because we talked about, the presence of Texas at this meet. You got the Arkansas champion, you got the Oklahoma champion, and then, of course, you got the three guys from the state of Texas. But, I like these youngsters in Matthias and Burns really making their presence felt and, showing that, hey, you don't have to be from Texas to, automatically make it on the individual team. You can be from a state that, may not necessarily get the credit they deserve. But Dominic Matthias, I've been able to watch him the last couple months or so, and he's a tough kid. He proved that at Chili Pepper, taking it to Jackson Free, and now he gets an opportunity to prove his toughness at Nike Cross Nationals.
And we've talked about how it has been just a juggernaut for teams out of Texas and Arkansas, kind of owning these teams. Blue Jays coming in, trying to be that first breakthrough team from Louisiana. Would appear right now that they would have to have performed well enough to have consideration as an at-large, finishing in third.
And I don't know if they did, Paul. And that's the hard thing about it is, only 4 spots are given to those at-large bids. And, you figure, all right, what does the Southwest have? Maybe 1 or 2 teams. What does California have? They still have their state championships, which are coming up this Saturday. So, those teams waiting on Saturday night for your name to be called. This is going to be a long week for the Blue Jays team. But Carroll and Venom delivered in a big way and continuing on that Texas tradition.
Those at-large teams will be selected after the California State meet next weekend, and then all squads will be working their way to Portland for Nike Cross Nationals. One guy who'll be there, our South champion, Caden Leonard, with Chris.
Thanks, Paul. Here, Caden Leonard. You're now successfully defended your state title a few weeks ago. Now the two-time reigning Nike Cross South regional champion. Mission accomplished?
Yeah, for sure. Today was just to focus on the team and getting everyone to Oregon, and that was just kind of the mission today.
Started your season a little later. Was this all part of the plan this year to start a little later and focus more on these postseason races?
I had an injury at the start of the season, so it wasn't planned, but it just happened to where I started later, and I'm feeling real fresh right now, so yeah.
We'll talk to the team in a few minutes, but it feels pretty good. It looks like the team won, and it feels good to have that done too.
Yeah, it feels awesome. That's what we're working for these last 3 weeks. Having the latest NXR, I guess besides California, was pretty weird because normally we're like the second to last week, but we kind of knew that, and we like it. It'll kind of keep us fresh and just using today as a workout for sure.
I was going to ask, you stole my question there, but racing on a Monday is a little weird, right?
Yeah, it is, but we were going to have a workout today regardless, so just using this as a workout to get ready for NXN.
All right, well, there's your 2025 NXR South champion, Caden Leonard. He's now 2-time champion here, and we'll see him at Portland. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks very much, Chris. Yeah, just a Monday morning workout that just happened to be the fastest high school performance on this course and the fastest championship race we've ever seen in Nike Cross Regional South history.
Yes, it is. I think he's taking this one with a grain of salt, and as I said, he has bigger fish to fry. And again, he probably plays that moment at NXN from last year in his head over and over again, and does not want that to happen at all whatsoever. So let's call it the revenge tour, if you will, Paul, because he will be on a mission on December 6th in Portland. We're excited for that opportunity for him. And, he showed, despite having the late start this year, his fitness is there, and he's getting back to the form that he knows he can be at.
And he played a very patient game. And then in that battle with Rule Newberry, that has been a battle we've seen over the course of this season, including that Texas 6A meet. And when it was all said and done, Caden Leonard didn't need to look behind. He just needs to look forward to that opportunity in Portland in early December, as he has his eye on a bigger prize, but now has 2 Nike Cross Regional South titles to his credit. Newberry finishing in second there. And as Caden Leonard talked about, it was as it is in this sport of cross country, not about just the eye, but also the team. And in this case, Carroll is going to also punch its ticket to Portland. And Caden and that group's back with Chris.
Thanks, Paul. We're here with the 2025 NXR South Champions boys team. Carroll from the Metroplex area. We've got Kai Gutierrez was our number 2 scorer. We're going to talk with Kai because we just talked with Caden a few minutes ago, our individual champion. But you guys made it back to Portland. Yes, sir. We've lost track of how many it is. It can't count them on one hand or 2 hands. Feels pretty good though, right?
Yes, sir. It feels great. After state, we came in with a goal of winning, trying to keep the Texas tradition of going to NXN every year. So we're really excited to go back this year.
What's different course this year? We're not running down the woodlands anymore on the soccer fields. We're on this beautiful cross-country specific course. It's a little better challenge, a little better preparation for Portland.
Yes, sir. It's more of a golf course. Also rain, so that'll kind of prepare us for NXN too. So it's a bit wider than our old course, so it's nice because you can move up and down.
All right. Well, we do have at least one first-timer going to Portland. You're pretty excited to go, right?
Yes, sir. I'm so excited. 3. Me.
We got 3 of them. Okay. So Carroll, for those that don't know, Carroll seems to go every year. It seems like 16 times. Wow, I can't count that on 3 hands. So what are you looking forward to about Portland?
I'm just excited for the opportunity to be in a big championship race and have that challenge. It always looks fun watching it every year, so glad to be running it this year.
Well, talk about that. The 16 trips as a first-timer, watching it and not being part of it and then being part of it. How big of that is like as a goal?
It really motivates you wanting to be there and just continue the Carroll tradition, and just seeing your teammates having fun makes you want to keep working hard to get there with them.
All right, well, we've got 3 members of the Carroll team going to Nike Cross Nationals for the first time. The other guys have been here before and got that experience and share it, but it's 16th trip to Nike Cross Nationals for Carroll Cross Country. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks very much, Chris. And it is actually 17 years now. They had qualified 16 times, but now officially a 17th time out of 20 editions. Any more dominant a school in the country than Carroll when it comes to